Hello and welcome back to the Revitalize the Total Women podcast. I'm your host and your senior coach, Lakeisha McKnight. The Revitalize the Total Woman podcast is a media outlet for the nonprofit based in Chesapeake, Virginia, entitled Women of Elevation Career Services International, where we empower women like yourself with the tools to be able to create, relate, and elevate. And so we're here Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 8 o'clock p.m. normally. For about no more than 10 minutes or so, giving you the tools that you need. And so for the next 4 months, meaning from May to August, we're going to be helping you to build relationships. The first 2 months, meaning May and June, focusing on personal relationships. And then July and August, professional relationships. And so this week, we're going to be talking about just really diving in and having a basic understanding of personal relationships. And so tonight, I just want to go over some of the different types of personal relationships and what purposes they may serve. So, for example, personal relationships can be relationships between a male and a female, and they could be best friends. Now, I have a question for you. Do you believe that a male and a female can be best friends? Why or why not? That's a question, of course, that we're going to pose inside of the Women of Elevation group on Facebook. Can men and women be friends? Why and why or why not? So if you're not a member of the group there on Facebook, feel free, of course, to use the search feature, look for groups, and look for Women of Elevation and request to join the group. We're going to eventually add it to the description area, but we want you to search for it on Facebook and get connected. Okay, get connected. So here's what I would love for you to do. Think about the various types. There are relationships between mother and daughter, father and son. There is relationship between husband and wife, right? These are different types of personal relationships, but they have different purposes as well. Really to maintain a household, if you're married, you need to have a strong husband and wife relationship. If you have siblings, you need to have a strong relationship between, your brother or your sister, or just your sister and your sister. If you have another sister, so you really need to have balance in between the two. Okay, and you really need that because that's how you're going to have a strong household. You're going to maintain a strong household if you have a healthy relationship between you and your other siblings, you and your parents, right? But of course, maybe you have a female that you're close with. Some people call those BFFs, your best friend. And, they're really important as well because you need to have a good, healthy social life. Someone that you can connect with, that you can talk to, that you will be able to share personal things with that you may not necessarily be able to share with your mom or with your dad. Okay, so those type of relationships are important. You need a healthy social life outside of your parents, outside of your spouse to really thrive. So they have different purposes, but you need these relationships in your life. One important thing that I was also taught is never burn your bridges, meaning don't damage your relationships. Don't be the person that causes the damage. And if you've done something wrong, own up to it, admit your mistakes, seek forgiveness if you can, and be able to move forward. It's never good to hold yourself in a prison-like state because you've hold bitterness and unforgiveness against someone. Okay. So I just want you to think about that. We're going to dive more into this, of course, tomorrow. But I want you to think about the various types of personal relationships you have in your life and what the purposes are for those. What purposes do they serve and whether they're healthy or not. Are those relationships healthy? What are some things? Do you feel that you can strengthen those personal relationships or you feel that they're pretty good? They're okay. So think about that, and then we're going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to delve into this a bit more. But if you want to learn more about this nonprofit and the podcast itself, I encourage you to visit www.womenofelevation.com. Remember, the nonprofit and the podcast, we empower women like yourself with the tools to be able to create, relate, and to elevate. Be blessed, and I'll speak with you on tomorrow night.